This is Autoline Daily, the show dedicated to enthusiasts of the global automotive industry. UAW President Shawn Fain is demanding that Detroit automakers give his union members substantial raises, as well as restore cost of living allowances, eliminate two-tier wages, and add a host of other increases. And while there's no doubt UAW workers will get raises, GM, Ford, and Stellantis are worried that their labor costs, already the highest in the U.S. auto industry, will give their competitors a significant cost advantage. Sources at Ford tell Autoline that its UAW labor costs an average of $64 an hour, or $128,000 a year. That includes wages, all benefits, and profit sharing. It estimates that foreign automakers in the U.S. pay an average of $55 an hour, and that Tesla pays an estimated $45 to $50 an hour. So the Detroit Three already pay anywhere from 16 to 28% more than their competitors, and they really don't want to see that gap grow. The roof is on fire. We don't need no water. I'm just kidding. But the roof is on fire is a line that Thomas Schaefer, the CEO of the Volkswagen brand, told top managers at an internal meeting. Wards reports that he wants to cut spending by 10 billion euros over the next 3 years, which is a draconian move. VW is spending heavily on EVs, but doesn't have good results to show for it. Its ICE and EV sales in China are weak, and in the second quarter in Europe, Tesla sold 72% more EVs than VW did, according to the website EU EVs. And just to show you how dire the situation is, VW's chief financial officer said, this is a, quote, last call to save the company. But VW isn't the only one struggling in China. Pretty much all of the foreign automakers are, except for Tesla. Foreign Auto missed how quickly the Chinese market would switch to electric cars, and they've been slow to add the latest infotainment and safety equipment. Ford, for example, is sinking fast. In 2016, it sold 1.2 million vehicles in China. Last year, it only sold 495,000, a drop of 58%. So Ford is now counting on C-V2X technology to give it an advantage over the competition in China. C-V2X stands for Cellular Vehicle-to-Everything Communication. It uses 5G connectivity to give drivers info such as traffic light status for better traffic flow. It can also warn them if another car or motorcycle is about to run a red light, or that a pedestrian is about to step into traffic. At the CES show in 2019, Ford said that it would equip all of its cars in the US with C-V2X by 2022. Obviously, that never happened. But in China, Ford is now making it available on almost every model that it sells. GM figured out how to squeeze more range out of the Hummer EV pickup with the 3X trim. With the available 24-module battery pack, it now gets an estimated 381 miles of range, which is 26 more than before. And the Hummer EV 3X pickup with the Extreme Off-Road package now has an estimated 359 miles of range, 30 more than before. But we should note that these are GM estimates, so the EPA ratings could slightly differ. GM didn't say how it boosted the range, or if it can offer it to current customers with over-the-air updates. The Hummer EV 3X pickup starts at just under $107,000, and production kicks off later this year. The Goodwood Festival is going on right now in England, and we've got several highlights for today's show. But I think there's something interesting about these vehicles. First, they're all BEVs, and second, they're not super rare models that you'll never see or own. Ford pulled the wraps off its rally-inspired Mustang Mach-E that it's going to sell in the US and Europe. No details were provided, but it clearly has unique wheels, tires, suspension, and styling elements compared to the regular Mach-E. Other info like range is going to come out later. On the other hand, we are getting most of the key specs for the Ioniq 5N, Hyundai's performance electric SUV. It features two electric motors that combine for 448 kilowatts, or roughly 600 horsepower. A boost function takes that to 478 kilowatts, or about 640 horsepower for a short period. With that boost, the Ioniq 5N can do 0 to 100 kilometers an hour in 3.4 seconds. Kia's performance EV, the EV6 GT, which rides on the same platform, has less power at 430 kilowatts, or about 575 horsepower, but the 0 to 100 time is about the same at 3.5 seconds. The similar performance could be because the Ioniq 5N has a new, bigger battery. It's 84 kilowatt hours compared to the 77.4 kilowatt hour pack that's in the Kia. However, we don't know anything about its cells or cell chemistry. Other improvements for the Hyundai include additional body welding and adhesives to increase rigidity, reinforced subframes, an electronic limited slip differential, stronger drive axles, and a retuned steering system. Hyundai even programmed the EV so it feels like it shifts gears and gave it an active sound system. The idea is drivers will feel more engaged with the car, which Hyundai thinks is lacking from performance EVs right now. And our last Goodwood reveals come from Polestar. It has the prototype versions of the Polestar 3 SUV and Polestar 5 sedan that come out next year on display. The 3 features up to 380 kilowatts or 517 horsepower and comes out in the second quarter of next year, while the 5 has up to 650 kilowatts or 884 horsepower, but all Polestar says about it is that it will come out sometime in 2024. Kia is growing fast in India. The automaker only entered the market in August of 2019, but it's now celebrating production of its 1 millionth vehicle, which was a version of the Seltos small crossover. That model accounted for more than half of those million vehicles. Kia also produces the Sonnet, a compact crossover, the Carens, another small crossover, and the Carnival minivan in India. It plans to introduce more models to the market and says it should hit 10% market share soon. The Volkswagen Atlas, including the Atlas Cross, is the best-selling model in VW's US lineup, and they're getting an update for the 2024 model year. We just got behind the wheel of them, which feature a mild styling update, but they still look pretty similar to the outgoing models. The interior gets a much more substantial update and is now more upscale in look and feel. Most of the dash buttons and knobs have been eliminated to give it a cleaner look, and all models come standard with a digital instrument cluster and a 10.25-inch infotainment screen that floats on the dash. We were also impressed by how quiet it is. It's a very smooth and comfortable ride, and that's partly thanks to an all-new engine. Replacing the previous 4-cylinder and V6 engines is a new turbocharged 2-liter 4-cylinder that's mated to an 8-speed automatic transmission. The setup produces 269 horsepower and 273 pound-feet of torque, which is 34 more horses and 15 pound-feet over the old 4-cylinder, and it's more torque and about the same horsepower as the V6. We found the engine to be nice and punchy with plenty of power. Fuel economy ranges from 20 to 23 mpg combined, depending on the setup, and that's a slight improvement from the previous Atlas. New technology includes VW's IQ Drive, which is a safety suite of driver assistance features. Demand for the Atlas and Atlas Cross is starting to cool off a bit, with sales down less than 1% in the first half of the year. So these new models are hitting the market for VW at a perfect time. It starts at just over $39,000, including destination charges, while the Cross Sport starts about $1,000 less. But that brings us to the end of this show and this week. Thanks for tuning in. and I hope you have a great weekend.
Autoline Daily is brought to you by Bridgestone, solutions for your journey. Intrepid Control Systems, over-the-air engineering, boost your game. And by Schaeffler, we pioneer motion.
At Schaeffler, we pioneer motion. Electrifying mobility, manufacturing smarter, reducing CO2 emissions, making energy production clean. Schaeffler pioneers motion to advance how the world moves.
We want to know what drives your testing. OTA, connected car, diagnostics, remote testing. Intrepid Control Systems is here to help you work from anywhere. Intrepid Control Systems, driven by your data. Wards is the industry leader for news, data, and analysis. That's why companies across the globe subscribe to our premium service, maybe even your own. Log in for subscriber access now. Check your company's intranet for details, and rely on wardsauto.com to keep you informed.